right, well, it's the fall of 2024. Halloween's right around the corner, and there's a really great tour starting. King Diamond, Overkill, Night Demon, October 15th. We have Bobby Blitz and Jarvis here. Guys, welcome back to the show. Good to see you two.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, good to be here, man. Sorry about the holdup. Get this rolling on now.
That's fine. Technology sucks. But so the tour starting, first question right off the bat. How'd this come about? Bobby, you're a veteran. You and King and Fate jammed together 40 years ago. Night Demons, 20 years into their career. How did this come about?
10. Thank you, though.
10?
Yeah, not 20.
Well, last time we talked, I said a newcomer. You go, I've been around a while, so I wanted to give you your props. But so how did all this come about?
Well, on our end, we were in South America. It was a bunch of festivals, etc. And my agent got to me on the second show and said that this was a possibility. Didi Verney didn't make it. He was rehabbing. We had David Ellsworth playing with us. So I got on the phone with Didi, and we were both like, let's go grab this thing. You know, let's just try to wrap it up. And this was as far back as the buzz for us started somewhere around April. That's when that South American tour happened. And I remember it being the second show. I think we were in Mexico City doing a festival with I think Biohazard was on there, a bunch of other bands, Death Angel, et cetera, et cetera. It was like this whole metal hardcore kind of a thing going through that continent. And it just kind of lingered for a while. And you know, we bid on it right away. But we didn't get confirmation till probably 6 weeks, 7 weeks later, somewhere into June.
Well,
how about you, Jarvis? How'd you guys get on this bill?
Yeah, kind of a similar situation. We were on tour in April out with Blind Guardian, and I got a text from King's agent saying, "What are you doing this fall?" And I said, "A lot." And it's like, "What specifically?" And I said, "Well, we have a shitload of one-offs." And he brought up, "Well, this isn't an offer, but this is you know, you're in the running for King Diamond and as one of three." And you know, for the opening slot. And so I said, "Okay, well, let me know how serious this is, and we'll see what we can do." You know, we've never been a band to really cancel shows. We like to honor our commitments. I've been doing this for a really long time, and you know, the fans that show up and buy tickets, they don't care, you know, what bill you're on. They want to come and see you, you know. So we were lucky enough that we were able to reschedule a lot of these shows. We didn't cancel anything. We were able to move it, and people understood it's a great tour to be on. And I'm glad that we get to do both. But yeah, like Bobby said, it took a while for things to come through. So I had to be that annoying guy and say, "Hey, you know, there's 19 promoters that think that we're doing something with them this fall. Can you just tell us?" And they basically said, "Yeah, you guys, you've got it." So here we are.
So you guys, I'm just curious, because how does that all work behind the scenes? Because you guys are all on different labels, you're all touring at different parts of the year, and everything's going on separately. So Jarvis, when you said somebody reached out to you, is it almost like right of first refusal where they say, "Okay, Jarvis, if it lines up for you, you're in"? Or is it like, we're going to kind of kick the tires on 10 different bands and then make a selection?
Well, not necessarily. If it's nothing's done until you have an offer, so you have money on the table and dates and an official commitment like that, you know, as a lot of people in this business love to talk, you know, and so we've a lot of things are offered, but until they're officially offered, nothing's happening, you know. So but again, I mean, that's kind of like why I had to be a bit pushy, and you don't want to be pushy when you get the opportunity of a lifetime. You know, it's a difficult situation to be in, but a lot of other people are, you know, being in bands like this, there's a lot of other things on the table. A lot of people are involved, and a lot of people's livelihoods are involved. You know, we've got crew and all this stuff too. And like I said, you know, we just want to be somebody who can honor our commitments. And it sucks. We've had to turn great things down before because it didn't work out. Luckily, this did, and we were able to work with some understanding people that would reschedule some of these dates. And here we are. It's a great thing.
I just told them to give me small unmarked bills. That was how. That's how fucking simple it was.
There you go.
And besides the point, I mean, you got to realize, I mean, King's been around for a long time. I mean, I know Kim from the early days, and we've done festivals together. We've always had a friendly kind of an honest relationship. I'm not going to say we send each other Christmas cards or satanic cards or whatever, but we've always had a decent relationship, and his reputation speaks for himself. He just ran through the states selling it out with Merciful Fate. We were wide-eyed to that tour. We were like, wow, what a great tour that would have been to be on. And you do a little research, and regardless of Merciful Fate being this iconic kind of underground legacy band, King Diamond was actually a bigger band. That was really, they had a bigger pull and sell because they came in on the tails of that Merciful Fate thing, and they really cashed it in at a higher level with regard to popularity. So, his reputation really speaks for itself. So, when people with rep talk, it really gets people's attention, like Jarvis and myself, I'm sure, because it's not just blowing smoke up your ass. It's something that's like, hey, we want to fucking do this tour. We want to make it happen. We want to make it happen at a high level, man. And look at this bill. I mean, it's like as old school as you can fucking get. And on top of that, there's 3 distinct differences between the bands, which I think is necessary in the modern era to attract that wide scale audience.
And that's what I was getting at the beginning. You're old school in Jarvis. Bobby, let me ask you, you really think Solo King is more maybe sales popular or popularity than Merciful Fate?
I just did. The only reason I say this is because I just did a little research on it. I mean, I looked it up, and it was with regard to sales, or at least it says so, for instance, on the internet, so it can't be a lie, right? I mean,
yeah, right. Yeah, I know.
No,
what's your favorite of the two, Fate or Diamond? Not to cause a border skirmish, but
well, I mean, I like the old school stuff because that's where I kind of come from, But I think there's a huge similarity between the two bands, to a large degree, and and being kind of a fan of some of the horror stuff, to be able to do something like Abigail or Fatal Portrait where it's actually a continuous story, I think is actually a cool presentation, especially in something like our scene collectively.
Yeah.
It's funny because John and I were talking too, and again, back to the triple bill, old school, great metal, and Metallica goes and announces the next leg of the tour, and, here they are bringing out yet more diverse acts. I mean, whether you like them or not, they're booking now Limp Bizkit out there in the 2025 tour, and it's like, I don't know, maybe there's, for those traditional metalists in us, we just want to say, man, can't you go out and bring us Saxon and Raven next summer? You skip some of these other bands, So this is like a breath of fresh air. By the way, Bobby, speaking of Metallica, John and I were up in Boston earlier in August. We were up in the VIP room, and we ran into your buddy Charlie. I don't know his last name, but Charlie, he says, you got to tell Blitz I said, hi, man, I'm the guy that inspired the mascot. I am Charlie.
His name is Bobby Ojo. He's a Jersey boy from the Old Bridge Metal Militia, and there was so many Bobs around that he used to call everybody Charlie. And he was our first stage manager, and he would say, "Hey, Dee Blitz, you want me to put Charlie up behind the drum kit?" And he was talking about our banner with the big bat, so that's how it got its name, was through Charlie.
See, so there was Charlie. And I was thinking too, Blitz, I covered the Metal Legion show at the Starland Ballroom only a couple of weeks ago, and we had Alex Skolnick on, and, he says, well, unfortunately, Bobby's going to be in Europe touring, but Mark Tornillo was there, and then Mark's not there because they're out touring, so we were there, we covered it, man, but I don't know, there was a little bit of Jerseyism missing there without the two of you guys there.
Yeah, it was just wrong. Mengi should have went back to New York where he belonged.
Listen, I want to contribute to that because I have an old friend of yours, Big John Winters, used to do sound for you. He's up here in Rochester, and I've done work with him in the past. He sends his hellos. That's
great. Give him my best.
He's doing. I will. He's doing real well. He's lost a little weight. He's doing well up here. He kicks butt. He has this market cornered. So I'll tell you
that's the home of comfort food in the winter, right? Isn't there a place called the Garbage Plate up there or something?
Yeah, Nick Tahoe is the Garbage Plate.
we stopped there with Joe Camo after one of the tours, and it's like French fries and macaroni salad and hot dogs all put into one thing. It's just, I don't know how you guys aren't all like 600 pounds up there.
Well, we do our best, but yeah, the garbage plate, Buffalo has the chicken wings. We have the House of Guitars. We have the Penny Arcade. We've gone down this road before. So both bands have been out promoting Scorch for Overkill, The Outsider for Night Demon. Is this a continuation of this tour? And if you didn't have these dates, were these bands going to be touring continuously more for these releases?
For us, yeah. I mean, our tour cycles are generally pretty long. I mean, we don't do we put out an album every few years, and I know, I won't speak for Bobby, but the Overkill album is pretty new, so and I know those guys tour a lot, and like I said, yeah, we had dates already booked, so yeah, we're going through next year. This is a good one to get.
Good.
I see that you guys, I was looking at your tour itineraries because you guys both toured very heavily in Europe this summer, but it looks like you guys actually, your past cross, you played a festival in Italy not too long ago there where you're all on the same bill.
Yeah, we were on alternating days though. So yeah, but that's how it rolls. It's like we've all got gigs every day. So it's not like, you could just hang out all weekend and see everybody either, so but that's how it rolls, man. Every day before Bobby came on, we were talking about that. You guys were kind of asking what was up, but yeah, it's the travel, man. It's the travel that is just it's the silent killer. The being on stage is fucking awesome, but getting from place to place every day is just that's the grind. That's the grinding wheel, as we say.
But we can't.
I think the key is to stay healthy if you're going to do every day. I mean, we call them hit and runs. You're in there somewhere around 11 in the morning. You're taking a shower by 2. You're doing your sound check. You're out of there by 2 o'clock in the morning. And you're off to the next place. As long as you stay healthy, you can make it happen. But if you start getting worn down, boy, man, that is just a drag.
Absolutely.
We can never tell where you guys are. It's kind of funny, Bobby. You'll answer and you'll be like, yeah, Walt, I'll hit you up next week, but I'm in Spain this week, but then I'm back home and I'm looking I can't even figure out where you are. And Jarvis, John and I laugh because we don't know where you live. Are you like a California guy? I'm in Ireland this time, in the UK this time. Bag will travel, right?
Yeah, I'm from California. I still have my place out there, but I've been living in Northern Ireland since the pandemic. So I'm here right now. I actually have 1 week off. And then 3 months straight, but yeah, it's bitching. I love it out here, so it's good. It's a good change. But I just go back and forth when I'm not on the road, which is rare.
Actually, being on the road.
Actually, I got a massage today. I got like this woman out here who does this great sports massage. It's awesome when you get off tour, and she was like, "Oh, you must see so many great places." And I told her today, you have to go to a city about 10 or 12 times when you tour to really soak it in. Every time you hopefully can see one little thing, but like Bobby said, it's show up, load in early, set everything up, sound check, get some rest if you can, do the show, and then move it along.
Ironically, both bands have some new members. Bob, how's the new drummer fitting in, and how is Dee Dee's health? Because he's dealing with that shoulder.
Well, we'll start with the health first. We're pushing it. He's pushing it. It's he's cleared to play, but not at the repetition is what could rip the rotator cuff again. Now, the issue that he has is that the right one has been done twice now. So this is his second operation or second reconnection of the cuff. While this was happening, he ripped the left. So, so he's kind of this marionette, you might want to say. That said, he did most of the European tour, and we're hoping that he does all of what's coming up for us. I mean, if not, we always have somebody in the wings that can walk in. But he's the stuff in Europe was good. We just got back from the New England Metal and Hardcore Fest. We just played that 2 days ago. He was fine then. There was no pain afterwards. So we're really optimistic that he can do the entire tour. The new drummer is actually an old friend of ours. He's He started with us back in the 2010 era. I think it was the Ironbound record. And that's Jeramie Kling. He moved on from us into a band called The Absence out of Florida. From there into Venom Inc. And we've always been in touch with the guy. He's always been a great drummer. And he's kind of brought I think, I don't know, a little more of the swing back to what Overkill used to be. Overkill used to have a little of this going on, that sideways movement, especially with regard to the beat. It wasn't just this bombastic kind of a computerized sound. It was more of a natural sound. And I think that that's what Jeramie brings back to us. He's a really hard hitter, but he has that little bit of that swing. And he's been with us now for the entire European tour and just did the New England Fest with us, and we'll be doing the entire King Diamond thing.
Awesome.
I can attest to that. I saw the gig in Italy the other night. Yeah, he definitely brings that to it. It's a very American thing, the swing thing too. You know, I mean, we toured with Accept too, and as great as they are, and the whole Teutonic thing, we always made when Uli John Roth did that live album with us, he was really happy because he thought our drummer was German at first, and he said Germans can't swing. Thank God your drummer. So thank God your drummer's an American guy. You know, we're so regimented over in Germany. You know, you need a little bit of that looseness. You know, that American vibe to it. So yeah, I can attest to that. There was definitely some of that in the set. It was very rock and roll. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, I always think in terms of that. You know, myself, and when I think of like how the thrash genre had started with regard to drumming. And you think of guys like Dave Lombardo, everybody thought he was this huge machine, but he could take the Slayer riffs and move them around a little bit like this. And that's really what the attraction was to it, in my opinion, was not just the heaviness of the riff, but the fact that it moved. And that for sure, as like Jarvis said, is an absolute American kind of a thing.
Lombardo
Jarvis,
with those Cuban roots. You know, he has that swing. You're right. Well,
Jarvis, are you still performing with Cirith Ungol as well? You're still pulling double duty on that one?
Yeah, I was doing double duty this whole last week. We were doing flying gigs and both bands were playing. So I was doing 2 sets a night. But yeah, they're on a farewell tour right now. They're hanging it up. We'll see what happens in the future. We might pull a Kiss or a Motley Crue thing. There was no contract signed, however. But yeah, you know, I mean, those guys are near 7 years old and have had a great comeback. Nobody thought they would ever see them again. The band's playing at a very high level, but we've gotten to do a lot of things that were on the bucket list for the band this last year. We still got a lot more to go. As a matter of fact, on the off days on the King Diamond tour, Night Demon's either playing with Overkill on some side shows, or we're doing a Cirith Ungol gig, like in the case of New York and Boston. Actually, between the Salt Lake show and the Vancouver show, there's a day off. We have to fly to Mexico to do one gig with them. So we're staying busy, man.
wow. It's
yeah.
Well,
Wow.
What about the set lists? Are you either band's mixing it up, Bob? I know you have your staple set. Any deeper into the Scorched album?
You can't really, you know, I mean, we're going to get 45 or 50 minutes. It's not like you have a lot of time to start experimentation. It's really about hit them as hard as you can right between the eyes and move on, you know, leave a little bit of an impact. You know, there's not going to be any 8-minute songs, for instance, under those circumstances. You know, we're even looking at the 6-minute songs and saying, maybe we got to cut a couple of those. So if you're talking 45 minutes, you're talking about 9 songs. So it's got to be kind of some of the classic stuff. We still will play a couple off of the Scorched record. We'll open with Scorched. We'll have the Surgeon in there. We're going to some places we haven't been in a while too. So that's going to be kind of cool to even just be able to present some of the newer record, as opposed to just the old stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, we've got a 30-minute set. So, I mean, that gets tough. You know, our songs are short, which is cool. You know, we write very short tunes, but we're going to lean old school because our fans have seen us tour this new record for about 1.5 years. It's a concept album where we've been playing the entire thing plus classics. But I saw King Diamond in concert the first year that Night Demon was touring 10 years ago, 2014. And at that time, I felt we were the opening act for that show So I'm going to basically take our early catalog of what we had then and do it 10 years later. So, our fans that show up, they know what we have, but we're going to be playing to a lot of people who have no idea who we are. So we're going to show them kind of the origins of what the band was. I mean, we still love those songs and we still play them live anyway. So it's going to lean heavier towards the early Night Demon stuff, which is, at that time we were looking to Merciful Fate and King Diamond as influences. So it'll fit right in.
I think the really cool thing for your bands being on this tour is the fact that King Diamond hasn't over-toured by any means. Merciful Fate, I mean, this is unique. And for you guys to get on there, I agree with it. You have this shot to kill them. You're exposed to these audiences that, quite honestly, probably half the crowd hasn't seen Overkill or Night Demon. It's the juice of this tour for you guys. I'm looking forward to it.
I think that's kind of criminal, especially not seeing Overkill, but you're right. I mean, like, I was a concert promoter in the early 2000s, right when I was out of high school, and I booked Merciful Fate and King Diamond twice in Southern California and had maybe 100 people at each show. I mean, things have come back for him, and I don't know if, there's a lot of true metalheads that'll be there, but some people might be going for the show or for the gimmick or the spectacle, whatever the reason they're there. I think you're going to see these two support acts just blow their faces off. And I think, that's kind of how I think people, it's never too late to get into cool music. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. At any point in your life. And when you can discover a band that's been around for a long time and realize that they have 20 records and they rule like Overkill, I mean, I think that's what I'm looking forward to is the conversion of people on this tour.
You may be able to comment on this. Now, Lance and I are seeing this more and more, this younger generation. We're getting older and they're getting younger. And that's what I meant about they may not have seen Overkill because they may be 15 years old. They may not have seen Overkill and Night Demon, but they've heard of King Diamond. They've heard of Merciful Fate. So that's what I meant by exposing yourself to this young generation. Bob, have you noticed in these crowds, it's not just sweaty old guys like, me and Lance, but younger people that have really, you guys are veterans, you're legends as much as you are.
Sweaty old guys are what make it happen. You know what I mean? I'm talking music. All right. Mm-hmm. The sweaty old guys are what make it happen. The guys in that gray shirt, it's not even black anymore. They have it from the beginning. And it's always spread out from there, I think. But I do see, there is a younger generation that's being exposed to it. And I think that kind of speaks to its the non-disposal kind of a feel with regard to this music. You can't just throw it away. It's not something that is pop. It takes a long time to get into your soul. And by the time it gets into your soul, you can't get rid of the thing. And I think that that's where the younger generation that comes into this kind of a fold, they feel that there's an authentic feel to it. There's realism to it. It's not, again, not disposable. And I remember just a quick story. I was doing a show over in Germany when it was just a few years ago. It was called Bowling. It was Bang Your Head. Actually, the promoter had just passed away this year. So the whole thing is non-existent at this point. In any case, I'm walking across this field. It's totally muddy, and I'm going into this merch tent because this dude did these like cowboy shirts for us, and I just wanted to check the quality of the stuff. And I ran into this family, it was like grandpa, dad, and the little girl, And I speak some Dutch because my ex-wife was Dutch, and the girl said to me in Dutch, "You're my favorite singer." She couldn't have been more than like 11 years old, And the father's like, "Will you take a picture with her?" I'm speaking Dutch to her, which makes it even more so. And I'm holding the kid up like this and taking a picture. And she's going, "You're my favorite singer." I'm going, "This is going to last forever. I got 3 generations of this family."
Wow.
Looking at me. So yes, I can attest to the fact that, youth is where the growth is with regard to the masses, I would say at this point.
Well, guys, King always brings out these elaborate shows. I mean, this one's being billed as St. Lucifer's Hospital setting 1920. John and I saw the Merciful Fate show in Queens a couple of years ago at the King's Theater. That place is like Radio City Music Hall on steroids. Loud. Creator opened that show, and I've never seen a bigger vibe and more people thrashing and pits going on that floor for Creator. It was unbelievable. But for bands like Overkill and Night Demon, I mean, King's going to have this elaborate stage. How do they set the stage up? Is it like you guys get kind of moved over to a corner? Because it's not an easy thing for them they can't break their piece down and build it up. It would take them an hour and a half. How does that work?
Yeah, basically what they do is they build their show and leave us downstage room, so front stage room. So the sides are going to be fucked. They're going to be crowded, and they section everything off. They'll have some backdrops. You won't see any of their set until they go on stage. They'll give us, like, hopefully, I think I got a quote of the actual square footage we'll have, but I mean, it's every venue's different. You know what I mean? So yeah. we'll be up there, especially us. But right. But you know, hey, that's the way I've seen though. I mean, there's when you guys went, right, and you saw Merciful Fate, it's the same kind of setup, right? So yeah. Like you know, the opening bands had room, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, it's kind of much of the same. I think, you know, he used the same production manager. One of the bands I managed, Midnight. They were on that tour, so it's the same people. So like I have a pretty good idea of what it's going to be, and it'll be fine. It'll look cool, you know.
You know, his stage set is pretty concise, though. As elaborate as it looks, he's using his space really wisely. So I think that the rest of us can put on our show. Sometimes you get in a situation like that where you get people that they just start building out from the back, and that's not the case here. And I think that, you know, we're going to be in a situation where we're going to be able to use a backdrop even to separate ourselves from what his show is. Like Jarvis was saying, it's going to, I mean, I don't know if he's going to have a kabuki on top of it, but for sure our backdrop will be up and it'll be hiding his set, you know, and to be able to build it back against the back wall to do something like that is really smart, because it's going to give the opening bands, you know, it's going to give Night Demon and Overkill the opportunity to present ourselves the way we should be presented, as opposed to looking like an opening band just stuck in the corner.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not like the old days. Like, bands are actually kind of working together now, you know? I mean, in the old days, it was like the headliner, you know, when, you know, Riot opens for Blue Oyster Cult, they're like, no monitors, you're in the corner, you're in the front, no lights, you know, that's the sabotaging thing. That's all that shit's pretty much gone now, you know. I mean, if bands do that, other people talk, other bands don't want to get involved in that stuff, you know. We're all here to have a good time and respect each other, I think. And they've been really cool people to us.
Well, it's also smart. It's also smart because it's about the event then. You know, he still reaps, you know, the benefit of that event, but he presents the event. So it becomes that night becomes that much more special in your head. Not that, you know, one of your favorite bands was jammed over in the corner under a flashlight. You know, it's just, you know, because guys who are like Night Demon fans or Overkill fans who might be coming specifically because we're on the bill go, hey, that's bullshit, you know, that kind of thing. So then you don't reap from the event. But I think under these circumstances, it's just the whole thing is a stroke of genius, because, I mean, he just sold out with Merciful Fate all across these venues. Now he's going to do it twice within within an 18-month period. With great bands, how the fuck do you pull that off twice? This is beautiful. It's just a beautiful situation.
Agree.
The tour starts October 15th in San Antonio, makes it up our way, King's Theater again in Brooklyn on the 30th, Boston Halloween on the 31st. When you get down to San Antonio, say hello to our buddy Dave Messner from the Talk Louder podcast. Him and Jason McMaster will be there. They're good guys. Jarvis, great year for the band. How was it with the Bruce Dickinson gig up in California? And give us a little snapshot about the excitement doing the Queensryche tour in 2025. And Bob, expand on your plans, the Overkill's plans going forward. You first, Jarvis.
Yeah, sure. Bruce Dickinson was great. It was his only show in the US. That was really fun. He reached out to us through Instagram, which was really weird.
Wow, like, yeah, really?
to find. But yeah, they asked us to do it, and it was cool. He was a super nice guy. You never know when you meet your heroes. You know, sometimes people have bad days or just the stress of everything. And he was super cool, and he brought our catering upstairs for us. I don't like, I don't know. It was like over nice. It was a good thing. It was a nice gig, and glad we did it. The Queensryche thing, yeah, they're playing their first 2 releases and going out in Europe. That's another one we've been wanting to get on since we started, and I'm glad they asked us to do it. I think they asked us to do it in Europe because I think we're slightly more popular in Europe, as I guess as every metal band. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. It's so awesome. But up next is this tour. You know, we're continuing in Europe next week for the last of our headlining dates for this album cycle, and then hitting the road. Like I said, we're doing some off dates with Overkill, which will be really fun. Just the 2 bands. And I hope people come and check those out. We're hitting all those cities in between that the King Tour is not going to. And yeah, look, I'm just looking forward to playing with Overkill. We've done gigs with them. We've done a lot of festivals together in Germany, Mexico. Like I said, this one is just Italy, but we've never had a chance to really meet each other and hang out. And ever since I was a kid, there was they played a show in '87 in my hometown of Ventura, California, at this place called the Poinsettia Pavilion. And that was Screaming Jay Hawkins played one of his last shows there. But there was this local band, Dark Carnival, and I used to hang out at their rehearsal space when I was a kid, and that's kind of like what got me into music. And they always had the Overkill poster there, and they actually gave it to me, and I still have it. And it's just cool, like one of those things that like a full circle, like life moment. And we're looking forward to going out there. And you know, like Bobby said, it's such a great bill. I think this is like pure entertainment for any metal fan.
Oh, the Overkill, the Taking Over tour, '87. Remember, you know,
we were out there. I remember that we were out there with Megadeth, but we were doing some headline shows too. And we were doing headline shows on the way back. The band, like, I think we did the Ventura show, and then the band self-destructed. Right, the drummer quit. He's like, "I'm going home. I can't take it." I'm like, "We just did the Megadeth tour."
Well,
sometimes you need to freshen up the laundry, though. You know what I mean?
that shitty show inspired other bands that are still playing. So look at it that way, you know.
I mean, did you just refer to him as the drummer?
Yeah, he refers to me as the singer still.
Really?
I didn't. I saw. Side note: I saw his film, and it didn't teach me how to do this. I had to learn how to do this. So.
Oh shit!
Great tours.
All right.
Well, you know what? Well, anything before we let these guys get out of here?
No, guys, just always pleasure seeing you guys, and we'll be seeing you in Queens, New York on the 30th. That is going to be a highlight, I can tell you that, man, because if it's anything like that Merciful Fate show, wow. Loud and busy and awesome.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Relive the youth.
Exactly.
You know, I do have one question. Walt and I have discussed this. Bob, how did that parking lot gig in MetLife for Metallica really come about? Because they never did any more. They didn't do it this tour. They only did a few. Was it just strictly in New York? But 30 seconds less. How did they come to you, and how did that happen?
Well, they went to TKO, our agent. Metallica wanted to make it a weekend, and I think it was they were just testing the waters with it. They had Prong on the Friday, and they had us on the Sunday. And it was just again, for us, I mean, it was like having 80,000 captive metalheads, you know? Maybe we dragged in 10 or 12 of them, or 15,000 in that fenced area. It was just really a fun gig. And it was a paid gig, and it was, the production was decent. It was a small kind of festival stage, but it was just a great experience for us. You know, it was just, the entertainment on the way into the show. But a lot of people came and really participated in the show. I remember you guys standing there by the fence.
Yeah, and it was great. We parked so close, we could have sat in it was a hot day, and the rain didn't happen. But yeah, you're right. It was awesome. You see that? The only downside of all that is it made for a long day. a long day, but that's the age.
But Boston was
Sorry.
not the same. Boston was not the
I'm
same,
sorry.
Bobby.
Yeah.
It was not the same. Something was missing in Boston. It wasn't Jersey. That's the bottom
It wasn't.
line.
It wasn't. Those damn chowds. I've had my fill of them. You know, I'm a Western New York guy, but yeah, that was a good time.
I saw Bobby and the guys do kind of the same thing with Maiden in California. I think it was 2016, I believe. And it was fucking great, man. Like it's a totally different vibe, you know, to take it to a different location in the big, huge, you know, outdoor show and like have a band like that. I mean, it was awesome.
You know, Jarvis, I remember that show, and I think I said, appearing now live, straight from the men's room. it was right next to the toilet, if you remember.
That you gotta call those out sometimes. You know, I think you know, I've had some of those. One time when we played 70,000 Tons of Metal, they put us up against the All-Star Jam, and I thank the audience for coming out to see us and skipping the show of the bands playing songs from all the bands that the boat couldn't afford.
2016. So, all right. Hey, listeners, just want to remind you, get up to the website, metalmayhemroc.com. Visit the new merch page. Tons of new Metal Mayhem merch. We got all that crap's up there. It's excellently priced. And download some past episodes, leave a review, and all that kind of stuff. For our guests, Bobby Blitz from Overkill, Jarvis Leatherby from Night Demon, my co-host Metal Walt, I'm the Vernomatic, and get out on tour. King Diamond, Overkill, and Night Demon, starting America October 15th. Guys, horns up, and thanks for your time.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks, boys. See you in a couple weeks, Jarvis.
See ya, man.
See you guys.
See you guys.
See you, Bob.
See you, Bob.
Metal for life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.